Hi, my name is Paul and I'm part of the Projecis team. I want to thank everybody for joining us for today's webinar where we'll be reviewing the e-training feature within Projecis. There are quite a bit of people on the line, so I'm going to keep the lines muted and unmute them periodically. This webinar is being recorded, and those muting periods will actually be edited out for the final version because of time. If there are any questions after this webinar, please feel free to email me at paul@projecis.com. Today we'll be reviewing a little bit about Projecis. Now we have a lot of people on the line today that are interested in Projecis but aren't current users. So there's some introduction information about Projecis. And then we'll talk a little bit about e-training. We're going to talk about who can manage the training. We'll discuss and look at the quiz format, what happens if you fail or pass, and then we'll go into a live demo. Now, Projecis is a communication and collaboration platform that has a lot of features. Today's feature that we'll be reviewing, the e-learning feature, is only one small feature within the greater system. And you see that we have a variety of features that are really organized around maintaining and organizing information and being a common source for project communication. We have significant communication and collaboration tools, and we're also able to track and monitor important dates and assignments. One of the goals of Projecis is also to provide great value to our customers. So we try to provide you a lot of very powerful features at a very low cost. Here is our standard pricing. It's $12 per user per month with a minimum of 8 seats. In general, you pay on a monthly basis and you can cancel at any time. And you can add and delete users incrementally, so you really only pay for what you use. Now the $12 per user per month is the only fee you pay. There is no sign-up fee, there is no setup fee. Discounts are available, and they're usually based on annual payments. We do have some customers that prefer to pay upfront for the year versus paying per month. Volume users, and volume is generally 50 seats or more, and long-term commitments, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. The highest level of discounts are usually a combination of the three. However, it is on a case-by-case basis. We do have additional services. They are not included in the $12 per user per month fee, and they include consulting services as well as country-specific international conference call numbers. So now let's jump into e-training. E-training is embedded within the files area. So when we go into the system and during a demo, we're actually going to enter the files area in order to access the e-training feature. The files can be viewed within Projecis, and they handle most of the common types, such as Word, PowerPoint, PDF, audio files, video files, Excel, so on. So there are a number of files that you can view within Projecis. Within Projecis, you can also download files unless they are marked protected. So you can have a file marked protected, and the user cannot download or print the file. Now, quizzes and or signatures can be requested within the system. And they help to document the review of the file by the person that you're assigned to go through this training, and also allow you to document some level of knowledge or competency of the material being reviewed. So who can manage the training feature? Well, only leaders within a project can manage training, and we'll go over that when we jump into the demo. However, anyone within a project can be assigned to go through the training, including the project leader. Here's an example of a quiz. This quiz has 2 areas. We have the quiz at the top, and we have an electronic signature at the bottom. There are a maximum of 15 questions that you can have within the system, and only one correct answer can be selected. So for example, I have 3 questions and not 15, and the only reason why I selected 3 was because I wanted to fit all on a single page. Now only one answer can be selected. I have received the question, well, what do you do if there are multiple answers that can be correct? Then you can have answer options such as A plus B or blue and green, in terms of having combinations that are possible within the system. You can also have all of the above or none of the above. So those are certainly answer options that would encompass multiple answer options. And the signature and quiz are optional. If you fail, this will actually show up on the screen, and we might have an opportunity to see that today. And the structure is as follows. It'll tell you how many questions you got right out of how many questions total. And it'll also tell you what the passing score is. So in this particular case, you had to get 3 out of 3 in order to pass this particular quiz. And in your case, in this particular person's case, they got 0 out of 3. We'll also notice at the bottom that in this case, they can review the material and retake the quiz. When you set up the quiz, you can set up how many failures would be allowed for a particular person or for a particular quiz. And that's an important point. In many cases, you usually have more than one chance to pass. And that's because many people will wing it the first time. However, we'll take it more seriously if they have failed in order to pass either the second or third time. And in this case, they also note that if you fail one more time, you will fail the training. Now, this person retook the quiz and got a 100% or 3 out of 3, and notes that your training of this file is marked as complete on this date and time. That being said, let's just jump directly to a demo and take a look at how do you set up a particular training, who has those options, what does it look like, and so on. Here I've logged in as Luke Skywalker, and I'm going to go to one of the projects to go through this demo. So let's open this project, go to the Files area, and I've created a folder called Training. Within this folder, I have 3 files. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see a fuller screen. Okay, here we go. First, let's take a look at this marketing presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation. And how we control the training feature is basically selecting Manage Training. Now, I'm a leader, so I have access to all these action items. Let me zoom back in so we can see a little bit closer for this meeting. You can see I have access to all of these features. What happens if you're not a leader? Well, in this case, I've logged in as Master Yoda. Master Yoda is not a leader on this particular project. Master Yoda is simply a member on this project. So let's open up the same file. So here we can see that Yoda has access to the file, but does not have access to a variety of action features, including the training feature. So here we come back to Luke Skywalker, myself, and you can see we have all those action features. So if I were to click on Manage Training, you can see that this particular file is currently going through training. There is version 2, and you can see that at the bottom you can see people that have completed training versus pending training requests. So these people have not completed their training of this particular file. Francis Dooku had completed training for version 1 and for version 2. If I ever want to remove people from this list, all I simply do is click on the X next to their name. Confirm that I want them removed, and they're removed from the list. If I want to add members to this particular list, all I do is click on Add Members, select who I want to add. Let's select somebody from down here, and simply add the member. you can see that C3PO has now been added to the list of people that need to be trained on this particular document. So let's get out of this one and let's open up another document. Let's open up this particular document. There are a couple of things that I want to point out here. One, this is actually a video file. So certainly we can play video files from Projecis. I don't know if this will come through on GoToMeeting, but you can see that we can actually play this particular video and we can pause it. You'll also notice that this document is protected, so I don't want the people that are being trained or viewing this file to download it or print this particular file. Now if we take a look at the training, again I'm a leader, I can click on Manage Training. I can see who's completed this training and who hasn't. So let's get out of here. Next thing I want to do is I want to upload a file to training. So I'm going to go to the training area. I can upload the file from here, but let's just start here. And we see the 3 files. I want to upload a file that I want people trained on. So I'm going to upload an SOP. Let's pick this one. I'm going to open that. I'm going to upload the file. We see that the SOP has been added to the list. We simply click on the SOP. Let's do 2 things here. One, let's edit its properties and make it protected. I could have done this when I uploaded the file, but I'm doing that now. The reason being is that if a file is protected, it cannot be downloaded or printed. It can only be viewed within Projecis. Since this is an SOP, I'm considering it part of my intellectual property, so really people should not walk away with it. However, they do need access to it. I'm going to save the changes. Next, let's start training. I'm going to click on Manage Training. You see that there are no pending requests or completed requests. This is a new file that I just uploaded. I click on Edit Training Details. This is where I can select an electronic signature or if a quiz is required. I'm going to require both so we can see what it looks like. Now I have to set what the minimum passing score is. If there are, let's say, 5 questions, I'm going to maybe have 3 as the minimum score. So let's say 3. Maximum attempts, the number of failed attempts that a person is allowed to go through before they just are marked as failed. Now if they have failed, you can reinstate them to actually take the quiz again. However, you probably want to speak with that person since they've probably failed multiple times. So I'm going to say you can fail twice with this particular quiz. So I'm going to add a question. Let's add a couple questions here. So in this particular case, I'm just making up a variety of questions. Since this is an SOP, I probably could have SOP-related questions, but just for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to include questions randomly. So here's the question. What is the color in the banner? And then I add the possible answers. So I'm going to say blue here. I'm going to add another answer, green. I'm going to say red. Oops, I have to go back. I accidentally hit the wrong key. Let's start from the beginning. Add an answer. And I can select one of these to be the correct answer. So let's select red. And then I add a second question. answers. New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. And I can pick one. Let's pick New York. No, let's add a third question. An answer. And let's add another one. So these are the answers that I picked. I can select which one's correct. Actually, I'm going to make them all, select these three correct answers, and then save the changes. So now I've created the quiz. Now I can add members to take this quiz. So let's add a few members. Select add member. I want to take this particular quiz. I also would like to have Yoda to take this quiz, and let's say Dooku as well. Hit close, and then I hit add members. Once I hit add members, the people that are on that list will actually receive an email. That email will look like this. It'll tell them that there is a file training request, who requested it, what file they have to be trained on, and they can actually click on this link. When they click on the link, they will have to log into Projecis, but then it will take them directly to the file that they need to be trained on. Now here I've logged in as Master Yoda, and Master Yoda is a member. We scroll down, we can actually see that he has a variety of things to do, and a couple of them are training items. And one of them is the SOP that we just recently uploaded. So as we saw, a person will get an email, and it'll also be marked in their to-do area. If I were to click on this particular to-do item, it will open up the file that I actually have to go through training on. I simply click on complete training and answer these particular questions, entering my title, company, password, and also checking off the box indicating that I know that I'm signing this particular document. So I'm going to fail the first time. So let's pick a couple of answers. I enter my title, my company, enter my password, click that I acknowledge that this is being signed, and hit complete training. And you'll see that I only got 1 out of 3 correct. Passing score is 3 out of 3. As we note here, we can retake this particular quiz, and I can only fail 1 more time. So let's retake this quiz. I complete training again. After looking through the document, I'm going to select the correct answers, enter my title, my company, and my password. Indicate that I am signing and complete signing. You can see here I have 3 out of 3. I've passed it, and when and what time. Now again, I'm a regular member. If I want to see the files that I have been trained on within this project, I can simply select training logs. And it will open up an indication of what files I still need to be trained on versus those I've actually completed and when I've completed them. Let's go back to the leader. So again, I can see who's trained, who hasn't been trained. This will update as soon as I hit F5. And we'll see that Master Yoda is now trained in this particular file. Now let's go back and take a look at training logs here. Because I am a leader, I can now take a look at training logs for everybody. And this is now not just for this file, it's for files within the system. So you can see here in this case, Francis Duku has one file that's pending to be trained or for him to complete training on, yet he's completed 2. We can see that also Master Yoda has 2 and he's also completed 1. If I click on either one of these, and let's click on, in this case, Francis Duku, I can see the files that are pending versus the files that have been completed. If I go back, I can also decide to print this. So let's say I end up printing this particular page. It will actually give me a training log. So I will actually be able to list the people, how many of the files they've been trained on, and how many are still pending. Similarly, I can open up a particular person and also print their training. And it's formatted in such a way that you can actually document what they've been trained on and what is pending at this particular day and time. So let's cancel that. So here we were able to take a look at who's been trained on which documents, be able to track the training, change the training, create quizzes, and have them sign the files that they're actually being trained on. So with that, if there are no additional questions, I want to thank everybody for joining us in today's webinar. If there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at paul@projecis.com.